The next day, as Levi prepares to cross to the other side of the gorge, a mine goes off due to a creature's presence, severing the zipline and causing him to plummet. Acting quickly, Drasa gathers ammunition and an auto-ascender, then jumps into the gorge after him. She lands in the rushing water but struggles to stay afloat. Eventually, she grabs onto a tree branch to save herself. Meanwhile, Levi is left hanging upside down from a tree as creatures approach. He shoots at them, but in the process, he falls into a Venus flytrap-like organism that seems to have a life of its own. Hearing his gunshot, Drasa rushes to his aid and shoots the trap, freeing him. Levi is surprised to see Drasa, but she assures him that he would have done the same for her. He asks if she brought an automatic ascender, and she confirms. Together, they head east to find the fallen cable. Suddenly, they hear galloping. A group of mutated soldiers on horseback charges at them. The fight proves difficult, but their quick thinking and sharpshooting save them. Afterward, Drasa checks her pocket only to find that the ascender has fallen into the water. They decide to follow the river south, guys. Levi notices the soldiers' uniforms are old military gear. Drasa mentions that she saw a post-war British SAS insignia. Levi deduces that these uniforms date back to the late 1940s, making him question how the soldiers are still alive. They continue deeper into the gorge, which is cloaked in thick fog with twisted branches jutting out ominously. Levi reflects that this is how the world is truly meant to end, not with nuclear weapons, but with people trapped between life and death. He recalls The Hollow Men, a poem by T.S. Eliot. Following the river, they come across a ruined town with dilapidated buildings and a massive rift in the ground, likely caused by an earthquake. Suddenly, they hear inhuman shrieks nearby. Seeking shelter, they enter what appears to be a church, where rows of skeletons sit in the pews. Levi notices a vial of cyanide near one of the skeletons. Drasa deduces that the people chose to end their own lives rather than succumb to whatever horror had befallen them. A screeching noise erupts from above. They ready their weapons, only to realize that the noise is coming from mutated spiders descending upon them. They fire, but the creatures prove difficult to kill. Worse, more mutated monsters begin attacking. Drasa blasts a hole in the church wall, allowing them to escape the church. The duo then spots a barracks and ventures inside, discovering what appears to be a research laboratory. Levi finds an old film roll labeled "God Forgive Us." Drasa calls him over and activates a backup generator. Levi inserts a film reel into a projector. A video plays, showing a scientist explaining that at the tail end of World War II, in 1946, a top-secret coalition was formed between Eastern and Western nations. Scientists were brought to this remote region to develop biochemical weapons similar in scale to Oppenheimer's atomic bomb. However, 6 days ago, an earthquake struck, releasing the deadly toxins they had been working on. Biochemical exposure mutated the people in the community, fusing plant, insect, and human DNA to create hybridized monsters. The scientist explains that short-term exposure, lasting only hours, has a much lower risk of mutation. However, if exposure exceeds 5 days, the transformation into an irreversible monster becomes inevitable. Meanwhile, Drasa discovers a vial containing a final sample of the toxin seemingly created recently. As the videotape ends, Levi explores an adjacent room and notices that the computer equipment appears modern, likely from the early 2000s. The duo then uncovers a shocking truth: a private paramilitary organization called Darklake is behind their employment. They realize that Darklake has been conducting research within the gorge, studying the monsters to understand the contaminant's effects. Their ultimate goal is to reverse engineer the toxin from hybrid DNA samples to create super soldiers. This revelation explains the presence of the drones they previously encountered. Levi and Drasa now understand the true nature of their mission. They were hired to protect Darklake's secrets from the outside world. Levi learns about the Stray Dog Protocol, a self-destruction mechanism designed to detonate a nuclear missile downward into the gorge, obliterating it from within. The protocol auto-activates if the gorge is exposed, with a minimum safe distance of 4.2 kilometers.